I became the antagonist in my stepsister's drama after refusing to cut my brothers out of my life as she had demanded on her birthday. Out of my four siblings, I 18F am the youngest. Chris 25, John 27, and Michael 28 are my three older brothers. My father 53 and my brothers have been quite protective of me ever since our mother died when I was 8 years old. Among other things, I had movie nights with my brothers and father, as well as father-daughter date nights with my dad. I believe they did that to ensure I didn't feel alone. My father married Melissa 45 last year. She moved in with us along with her 18-year-old daughter, Ashley. I always felt that I was disliked by Ashley. She would converse with my brothers and father, but never with me. She would give me a brusque response and then turn away if I attempted to speak with her. After a few weeks of unsuccessfully trying to get along with her, I gave up, even though I never understood why or whether I had done something to her. It was sufficient that we treated each other with civility. My brothers had conflicting feelings about her as well. She insisted on attending our movie nights, but even if none of us were interested, she would always insist on seeing a film she enjoyed. Additionally, she persisted in attempting to cuddle with my brothers, which made them uneasy and was strange because they didn't enjoy how touchy she was with them. Chris actually told her to stop. I recently turned 18. It was low-key and enjoyable, and I got some amazing presents. The following day, Ashley approached me and complained that it was unjust because my brother's birthday presents to me were superior to the ones they gave her in June of last year. Since my brothers didn't really know her, they each gave her a $200 gift card to a different store so she could purchase the things she loved. To be polite, they handed her presents. My brothers sent me a personalized planner with quotes and messages on every page, a signed copy of a whole book series I'd been infatuated with, and a personalized perfume. Since they don't truly know her, I think it's reasonable that they gave my gifts more thought. Ashley broke down in tears as she said, "I always get everything and she gets nothing." Then she insisted that I quit spending time with my brothers, saying they would give her more attention if I did. She also asked me to inform them that since she was now their sister, they should treat her the same way they treated me. I assured her that I wouldn't make my brothers do anything against their will. She demanded that I call my brothers at that very moment to inform them that I would be spending less time with them and that they were to get her better presents. I declined. She must have told her friends and cousins since I started receiving letters from them accusing me of being a pampered, self-centered child. I alerted my father and brothers about Ashley's actions. According to my father, they would speak with Ashley after he spoke with Melissa. We all spoke the following day. Ashley didn't deny anything. Despite what we believed at this point, she sounded like a broken record as she simply reiterated everything she had told me. Because my brothers and I were so close, my dad acknowledged that Ashley might feel alienated, but he said it was inappropriate for her to harass me through her friends and family and demand that I spend less time with them. Melissa began to express regret for Ashley's actions. Ashley was simply struggling with the changes in her life. They initially wanted a positive relationship with her, but Michael said, "Forget it if this is how she's going to treat me." My brothers also talked about how her being so touchy with them made them feel uneasy. When my father proposed therapy, Ashley screamed and refused. I believe my father had had enough at this point. He threatened to evict her from his home unless she resolved her problems and went to therapy. We all stopped talking after that. My dad responded in the affirmative when Melissa inquired if he was serious. He claimed to love her and care about Ashley, but he wouldn't tolerate bullying of his daughter in his own home. Ashley had a surprised expression. This must have been quite upsetting to her because she was going to attend a nearby college and stay at home to save money on rent. She began accusing me, approaching me, and even attempting to seize me. My brothers all stepped in between us right away. John told her even if your father was attempting to be nice, he would not act in that way. He went on to say that he would put her in jail before she could blink if she touched me. As an attorney, John made it clear that this was no mere threat. Ashley took a step back and shut the door behind her as she made her way to her room. Ashley attended therapy the following day. At least she is leaving, even though I'm not sure if Melissa coerced her or if she didn't want to be expelled. I don't mind at all that she has been ignoring us for the past few days. Ashley began playing the sympathy card by texting my brothers the day she began therapy. They all obstructed her. I'm doing fine personally. Everyone kind of forgot that I'm leaving for college in a few days because of this whole situation. My father and brothers are currently behaving irrationally like mother hens. Update 1. I never expected things to spiral to this extent, but looking back, I'm realizing just how complex and messy this situation with my stepsister Ashley has become. To give you a bit of context, I'm 18 years old and the youngest of 4 siblings, Chris 25, John 27, and Michael 28. Our mother passed away when I was 8, and from that moment on my dad and my brothers became incredibly protective of me. They always made sure I didn't feel alone or left out, especially with the loss of our mom. When my dad remarried Melissa last year, things began to change, as they tend to when new people enter the family dynamic. Melissa brought her daughter, Ashley, into our home, and right from the start, I felt like something was off. Ashley would barely acknowledge me, treating me coldly while bonding with my dad and brothers. I tried for weeks to connect with her, but every attempt was met with dismissiveness. Eventually, I gave up trying to be her friend and accepted that we could be civil but not close. The tension between Ashley and my brothers was palpable too. She'd insist on attending our family movie nights, even though none of us were interested in the films she chose. She'd try to cuddle with my brothers, which made them uncomfortable. Chris, in particular, told her to stop. It all seemed a bit too much considering she was a stranger to them. But we all tried to accommodate her despite feeling uneasy. Things came to a head on my 18th birthday. It was a low-key celebration, but the presents I received from my brothers were very thoughtful. Chris gave me a personalized planner with quotes and messages. These presents weren't just nice gifts, they showed that my brothers knew me well and cared about what I liked. Ashley, on the other hand, became very upset after the celebration. She felt that my gifts were far superior to the ones she received from my brothers the previous year. Back then, since they didn't know her well, they gave her gift cards to stores she liked. She burst into tears, accusing me of always getting everything, and insisted that I needed to spend less time with my brothers so they could focus on her more. She demanded that I tell my brothers to treat her the same way they treated me, saying I was hogging their attention. When I refused to call my brothers and relay this message, she even insisted I make a phone call at that very moment. I stood my ground and told her that I wasn't going to make my brothers do anything they didn't want to. I didn't know it at the time, but apparently she had told her friends and cousins about this, because suddenly I was receiving messages from them accusing me of being spoiled and self-centered. I reached out to my father and brothers, and we all had a family meeting. Ashley didn't deny any of the accusations, and when she repeated her demands, it became clear that she was still struggling to adjust to the changes in her life. However, my father and brothers weren't willing to tolerate her behavior. My father told her that it wasn't okay to harass me, and that if she wanted to be a part of this family, she needed to stop acting out. It was then that my dad proposed therapy for Ashley to help her adjust. Unfortunately, she screamed and refused. My father, who had been more patient with her up until then, had had enough. He told Melissa that if Ashley didn't agree to therapy and change her attitude, he would have no choice but to ask her to leave. To my surprise, Melissa was taken aback, but it was clear she didn't think Ashley's actions were as serious as we did. My dad was firm, though he said he loved Melissa, and cared about Ashley, but his daughter was his priority. From there things escalated further. Ashley, in a fit of rage, tried to approach me physically, and my brothers immediately stepped in between us. John, who's an attorney, didn't mince words when he told her that even if her dad tried to be kind, he wouldn't allow her to treat me that way. The situation became so tense that Ashley was sent to therapy the next day. Things calmed down for a while, but a few days later, Ashley was caught in the act of taking something that belonged to me. The issue arose when I noticed my grandmother's diamond earrings, family heirlooms that were passed down to me, were missing. I had kept them in a locked drawer for safekeeping. When I noticed them gone, I checked the security footage, and sure enough, Ashley had entered my room and taken them. I called my dad, and he immediately confronted her. At first, she denied everything, claiming she had borrowed the earrings from a friend. But once my father showed her the video footage, she backtracked and said she had just borrowed them because she thought I wasn't using them. This was a lie, of course. She had taken them without asking. Eventually, the situation became so serious that my brothers and I decided to report her to the police. The earrings were valuable, and the sentimental value was far beyond the price tag. The police showed up at the house, and despite Ashley's attempts to flee, she was detained. In the end, she was forced to stay in the holding cell overnight, and her behavior at the station only made things worse. She even bit one of the officers. As the police investigation continued, my dad made it clear to Melissa that there would be no tolerating this kind of behavior in his home. It was a heartbreaking and embarrassing situation, but my father's stance was unwavering. He told Melissa that family loyalty had to come first, and that he couldn't allow Ashley to continue stealing from his children. Melissa didn't take this well, and I suspect this may be the beginning of a breakdown in their marriage. Ashley's family has been blowing up my phone ever since, accusing me of ruining their lives. They've called me self-centered and dramatic for going to the police, and some of the wedding guests even witnessed the commotion at the station. But I knew that if I didn't stand up for myself, I'd never get the respect I deserved in my own home. It's been weeks now, and Ashley and Melissa have been avoiding us. My brothers and I have been in close contact, supporting each other and making sure Ashley understands that if she wants to be part of this family, she'll have to earn it. For now, it looks like my dad and Melissa are heading for a divorce, and I don't know what that means for me and my brothers in the future. The earrings were returned, and I feel a bit better knowing they're safe. But the emotional fallout from all of this has left me feeling unsettled. I'm leaving for college soon, and while I'm excited for the next chapter of my life, I know this family drama will be hard to leave behind. Update 2. On top of everything going on with Ashley, I'm also dealing with an ongoing situation with my aunt and cousin, which has been equally as stressful and emotionally draining. I'm currently 8 months pregnant, and while most of my family has been supportive, my aunt and cousin have been causing me a lot of unnecessary distress. To put things into perspective, my aunt and cousin have been a big part of my life for many years. My aunt, who has been like a second mother to me ever since our own mom passed away, has always had a very strict religious viewpoint. She's deeply rooted in her Mormon faith, and while I respect her beliefs, we've had our differences, especially now that I'm an adult. When I told my aunt and cousin about my pregnancy, they both seemed excited at first, but then things took a strange turn. My cousin has been struggling with infertility for the past 5 years, and while I've tried to be there for her throughout this process, it seems like she's fixated on the idea of me giving her my baby. My aunt, who has always been very vocal about her own moral and religious values, has been pushing me to give the baby to my cousin for adoption. She believes that my cousin and her husband would be better parents for my child because they can provide a more stable religious home. Despite their insistence, I've made it very clear to them that my partner and I have no intention of giving up our baby. We love her and we plan on raising her together. But my aunt continues to press the issue, claiming that since I'm young and pursuing my career, I won't be able to provide the kind of home my baby deserves. The pressure from my aunt has been overwhelming. She's called me multiple times, trying to convince me that I'm making a mistake and that my cousin deserves this baby more than I do. It's been heartbreaking to hear these accusations, especially since I've been so supportive of my cousin's struggle with infertility. Yet, despite all of this, I know that I'm doing the right thing for my child. A few days ago, things took a disturbing turn when Maya showed up at my apartment uninvited and tried to corner me into a conversation about giving up my baby. I had to tell her to leave. I've since blocked her on all social media and changed my phone number to ensure she can't contact me again. What's worse is that my cousin, who I've always been close with, has started to show signs of obsession. She's been posting on forums, asking for advice on adoption, and even asking if she could take a child from a widow or someone else. I've learned that she's been kicked out of several groups for pressuring women who have experienced miscarriages or stillbirth. And has now involved her religious community in an attempt to pressure me into reconsidering my decision. She's told the church leaders that I'm not living according to their moral values and has been asking them to intervene. I'm feeling suffocated by their constant attempts to force me to make a decision I'm not comfortable with. Recently, I spoke with the church leader in my area hoping he would understand my concerns. However, he seemed more focused on appeasing my aunt's viewpoint than considering my perspective. He suggested therapy, which I'm open to, but the pressure to reconnect with my aunt and cousin is too much for me right now. I've been so emotionally exhausted by all of this. I feel like I'm constantly under attack for my decision to keep my child and raise her in a way that aligns with my values. My partner and I are committed to our family, but the road ahead seems incredibly uncertain, especially with my aunt and cousin unwilling to accept our decision. As I approach the birth of my baby, I'm trying to focus on my health and well-being, but the constant emotional strain has made things incredibly difficult. I just want peace and to enjoy this special time in my life without being bombarded by people who don't understand my choices. Thank you for the continued support, and I'll try to keep you all updated as things progress.